One of the biggest issues that crops up time and time again when I work with people is boundaries. As Christians, we often confuse a mandate to love others with tolerating all sorts of boundary violations. Learning to set healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining a positive self-image. It's our way of communicating to others that we have self-respect, and we're not going to allow others to define us. They are the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual limits we establish to protect ourselves from being manipulated, used, or violated by others. Without boundaries and our willingness to communicate those limits directly and honestly with others, it wouldn't be possible to enjoy healthy relationships. Respecting ourselves in this way is actually honoring the worth that God sees in each one of us. To set personal boundaries means to preserve your God-given identity and integrity, and to take responsibility for who you are and to take control of your life. So what should you do? First of all, get rid of the obstacles. It's critical to identify and deal with the fears that fuel your boundary issues. Is it a fear of rejection, disapproval, others' anger, guilt? And actually how you were raised along with your role in your family, they can become additional obstacles in setting boundaries. So next, name your limits. You can't set good boundaries if you're unsure of where you stand. So identify your limits. Consider what you can tolerate and accept, and what makes you feel uncomfortable or stressed. The clearer you define those limits to yourself, the more you will know when it's time to set a boundary. Next is pay attention to your feelings. Notice especially the red flag emotions of discomfort or resentment, which can be indications that your boundaries have been violated in some way. Assess the intensity of your feelings to decide whether an action is warranted. But before you do anything, ask yourself, what's causing these feelings? What is it about the interaction or the other person's expectations that's bothering me? And then be direct in communicating your boundaries. When you identify the need to set a boundary, do it clearly, without anger, and as concisely as possible. Don't justify, apologize, or rationalize the boundary you're setting. And don't argue. Just set the boundary calmly, firmly, clearly, and respectfully. And know what actions you're going to take if your wishes aren't respected. Next, learn to say no. Many of us are people pleasers and we bend over backwards trying to accommodate everyone else. We don't want to be selfish, and so we end up taking on way too much or agreeing to things that really are not good for us and not consistent with our values. And when you set a boundary, expect pushback from others. Be prepared for some backlash. Many people don't like change, but that doesn't mean you should back down. Expect that you're going to be tested, especially by those who are used to controlling you, abusing you, or manipulating you. Plan on it. Expect it, but stay firm and respectful. Remember, your behavior must match the boundaries you're setting. You can't establish a clear boundary successfully if you're sending a mixed message by apologizing for doing so. Next, let go of toxic relationships or situations. Most people are willing to respect your boundaries, but some aren't. Communicate to others that you want to be in relationship with them, but only if they treat you with respect. And after several attempts to set boundaries, the person is still unwilling to change, be prepared to walk away. And also be willing to walk from toxic situations such as your job or church if your boundaries are consistently being violated. And last of all, take care of yourself. Remember to take responsibility for your own emotions and well-being rather than expecting others to do it for you. Take care of your side of the fence and let go of the need to control or be responsible for their side of the fence. Be assertive in stating your own needs and don't expect others to read your mind. At first you might feel a little selfish or guilty or embarrassed when you set a boundary, but push yourself to do it anyway. Setting boundaries takes practice and determination. Remember, you're not responsible for the other person's reactions to your boundary, but only for communicating that boundary and responding respectfully. If others get upset with you, that's their issue. And if they no longer want your friendship because of your boundaries, then you're probably better off without them. Setting healthy boundaries allows your true self to emerge. I know it's hard work, but I promise you it will be worth it. I'm Dr. Mary.